how to tell if they're ENFJ or ENFP. Eric, can you really tell just by looking at them? Well, yes. Oh, there's more to look at than just looking at them, okay? I'm gonna give you my little inside stuff. Now remember, the difference between the ESFJ versus the ENFJ, we're gonna throw that there and just remove that. ESFJs are like, these are my people and I'm protecting them, mine. And you're not part of my little group. And ENFJs are like, everybody can be a part of my group. I love you all. Okay, so that should be the surface level difference. ESFJs play favorites and ENFJs make you think that you're their favorite. They make everybody think that they're your favorite. And they love gossip. ENFJs love gossip. And ESFJs, for some reason, can keep secrets a little bit better, but well, surface level stuff, Eric, get to the juice. Okay, ENF types have a goofiness to them. They're a little bit on the goofy side. They're so warm-hearted and just look at all the bright side of things, typically, positively speaking, that they come across a little bit, goofy. And goofy is a great thing. I'm goofy, but I'm more silly than goofy. There's a difference. Silliness is like, goofiness is like, ha ha! Okay, does that help a little bit? ENF types are fun. They're very fun. And ESFs are a little more guarded. They're like, oh, did I offend them? Like there's definitely, because I'm an ESF as well, there's this like questioning going on. So sensory versus intuition, right? But that's a whole different thing. So we're gonna move on to just looking at somebody's profile, which I'm gonna do for you right now. And I'm gonna read to you what I see, what they have said about themselves in their, bio. I'm not gonna tell you what platform because then you can probably go find this person. And I'm gonna do it in out of order, so you can't find this person, so I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. And yes, there are photos of a dog, dogs, and many photos of people, and it's a very expressive, outgoing, definitely an extroverted person, okay? If you have any photos of like, these are my people, these are my animals, everything, you're this happy and fun and just kind of big and fluffy, it's very EF. All right. Now you have the intuitive side. You have to be, don't get offended. You look at their eyes. If they have a dazed look, then they're in their head. Ow. If they're like highly aware, like this, then there's probably the question of, well, the second letter is probably sensory, because we're using our senses like constantly, right? So now moving on to looking at this person. Here we go. You ready? Don't forget, it's very obvious that they're ENF. We narrowed it down. But what about that fourth letter? Sign language instructor. Anybody who learns sign language, it has a history for why they have to learn sign language. There are sign language users in my family, so we can't just say, hey, that says much there. Well, let's keep looking. So you can't just look at one thing. When you're looking at somebody, there's a lot of depth to any human being. So being able to type somebody very quickly, you have to be able to assess all these things at once. Now, let's just say project manager. So they run people. They organize people in project. Well, it's because the next one here, the community organizer, right there. That should be a huge red flag. Which one it is. I don't even need to read more than that, helper, advocate, event coordination, the project manager. So, okay, if that didn't give you a dead giveaway, go ahead and just guess right now. From just me reading that, go ahead and see how smart you are. Just go ahead and guess, put your comment in there, and don't look at anybody else's, because a lot of you just cheat and copy other people's stuff. I've learned. I've been watching you. Yeah, I know who you are. You just want to get your cookie. But if you can't explain why, then you don't get your cupcake. And it's those who give me the explanations that I give you a cupcake. And a skull and crossbones if you just, you know who you are. But anyway, seriously, that should be a dead giveaway, all right? So let's get serious now and talk about why that is. ENF. Extroverted, they love people. That's their thing, that's what fuels them. They're introverted, they're very in their head. How can you be, with people, but in your head? It's interesting, you'll notice them. And they're everywhere, and they're highly supportive. There it is. ENFJs support others. ENFPs are the type that kind of like, they get called two-faced every once in a while. I've noticed, being a personality guy and having a channel, I get told certain things on, comments and behind the scenes. ENFPs, did I say ENFPs? I meant ENFPs by that. They tend to be self-focused. So that's why they can come across that way, I guess, two-faced, right? But they're not fake. They'll show how they feel on their face, but they'll join in if you pull them in, but really they just want to be left alone. It's fascinating because they see so much of the world and they know the darkness of the world. ENFPs know. They know. But they play it because they don't want to hurt your feelings, like everything's going to be okay. They have this positive nature, but every ENFP that I know is going through this like Armageddon on the inside. And to me, that can be a bit two-faced, sure. Like, I don't want to say ENFPs attract negativity because of that, because don't forget that their shadow is the INFJ, and they like to dwell on that because they're SI demon. So they categorize and create a spider web around everybody who's hurt them and all of that stuff for the INFJ. We've done plenty of videos on INFJs. Let's give the ENFPs a spotlight here by saying Both ENF types are bubbly, but ENFJs have a very forgiving nature. ENFPs, they don't seem to want to let go. It's weird because they're a P type, so they can use that for fuel to create art. So don't forget the NFP types are highly creative, more than most. That doesn't mean every type can't be creative, I've noticed, but INFPs are very author-like, very creative and imaginative, but don't want anybody's approval or even to see their art, INFPs. ENFPs are like, I made this and I'm very proud of this. ENFPs are like, this is my thing. Remember, biggest difference is where the F placement is, the feeler placement in the cognitive stacks for FI and FE. ENFJs are FE dominated and therefore FE motivated. I meant FE and FJs. Am I stumbling on my words here? You know what I mean? So when they are that, they use that fuel, your energy, your emotions, I care about you. They're the kind that will say, you know what, I don't care if you're sick. I heard you're sick. Somebody told me because I know everybody and I love gossip, ENFJ. I'm going to bring you soup and I don't care what you say because I love you. Now accept my love. ENFPs are like, oh, you're sick. I'm going to stay away. Okay? That right there should be massive. The FI users are INFP, like I mentioned, ENFP, ESFP, and ISFP. These are FI users. We are the selfish types. The selfish types who like to create for different reasons, but we're very artistic for the most part. That our value is in where our FI is. So we feel this moral value feeling, ENFPs are involved here, that says I should feel this way, or you should probably apologize, or you should, the should factor is FI. So ENFPs are NE to FI. So now you have the ability to connect everything in the planet with all their deep depth of ENFPs mixed in with their bubbly personality, pushed into like this happy FI, like this is how I feel. They're really good at procrastinating too. So I've noticed that because they're SI inferior. They don't create spider webs very well. They like to connect ideas and things together, but they don't really organize. ENFPs are a little more sloppy than an ENFJ. If you want me to get real, guys, I'm gonna get real, but then you watch the video so far, I might as well give you some extra juice, because that's where your SI placement is. The SI is the spiderweb maker, the organizer, the archiver. They are SI inferior. Aspirational, yeah. When they are organized, they're great, but for short-lived periods, right? That's the infant function for the ENFP. ENFJs are SI blind. So it's kind of an offensive thing to bring up about their spiderwebs, but that's where they get their TI inferior. Okay, we're not going to go there, but that's generally the gist of it. Both cognitive stacks create a bubbly vibe for both, not just the horizontal code. If you look at their cognitive stacks, they create a bubbly, it can appear bubbly, or they can, I should say, which is really fascinating. So anyway, I hope that helps a lot. If you can't guess what that profile was just by me saying that, I'm not going to say it in the video, the answer, but good luck. Thanks for watching. I'm Eric Osmond, and I hope that helps you determine if you or somebody else you know is an ENFP or a J. Don't forget I have a brand new voiceover channel for my audiobook narrations. Go check it out. Link in the bio.